Have you ever looked at the world of watches and just wondered, why? Why does one cost a couple $100 and another costs more than a car? It can feel totally random, but trust me, it's not. In this explainer, we're going to decode the whole thing and give you a clear guide to navigating this pretty wild market.
So, this is the big one, right? It's the first question everybody asks, and it's the key to this whole thing. But, spoiler alert, the answer isn't just a simple number.
The answer, well, it's complicated because it really depends on which world you're looking at. You see, the watch market is literally splitting in two. You've got your everyday watches on one side and these high-end luxury assets on the other. And once you get that divide, the price tags start to make a lot more sense.
So here's the game plan. First, we'll dig into that great market divide. Then, we're going to climb the price ladder together, starting with your first collection pieces, moving up to the serious stuff, and then into the icons. And finally, we'll look at what happens when price tags stop mattering and hype takes over.
All right, let's dive right in with this tale of two markets. The whole Swiss watch industry is polarizing. And honestly, once you understand this one concept, everything else just kind of clicks into place.
Okay, so check this out, because it's a little weird. Switzerland is shipping out fewer, lower-priced watches than they used to. But at the same time, the total value of all their watch exports is actually going up. How is that possible? It's all being driven by the super high-end luxury stuff. They're selling fewer watches, but the ones they are selling are more expensive than ever.
And the numbers, wow, they really tell the story. Over the last decade, the actual number of watches they've made has dropped by a third. A huge reason for that is, smartwatches have kind of taken over that lower-end market. But, and this is the crazy part, in that same time, the total value of the watches sold has gone up by a third. Falling volume, rising value. That's the great divide in a nutshell.
So that's the big picture theory. But what does this actually mean for you when you're looking to buy a watch? Well, let's start where most of us do, the entry point for starting a collection.
We're talking about watches that cost less than about 1,500 euros. And let me tell you, this is a super exciting and accessible place to be. You can find some absolutely fantastic pieces here. You get so much bang for your buck in this range. You've got all these cool, innovative micro brands that sell online, some starting at just a few $100s. At the really low end, you'll see your reliable, battery-powered quartz watches. But as you get closer to that 1,500 euro mark, you start getting into the world of mechanical movements, these tiny, intricate, living engines on your wrist. And you don't even have to guess. If you ask the experts, they'll almost always point you to watches like the legendary Hamilton Cocky Field Mechanical, the absolute workhorse that is the Seiko Turtle, or, if you push the budget a bit, the gorgeous and classic Oris Big Crown Pointer Date. All of them are just stellar choices.
All right, you ready to climb up to the next level? This is what a lot of people call the collector's sweet spot. It's the price point where you might find yourself buying your first truly serious watch.
So we're in the range of 1,500 up to 5,000 euros. It's a pretty big jump. And with that jump comes a whole new set of things to think about.
At this level, you're not just buying a timepiece anymore. You're buying into a brand's story, its heritage. You start asking different questions, like, hey, is this thing going to hold its value if I ever want to sell it? And this is where the whole new versus vintage debate gets really interesting. So what can you get here? Well, an absolute modern classic like the Omega Seamaster Diver 300 meters is a top pick. But, and this is the cool part, the vintage market totally opens up. You could find a classic two-tone Cartier Santos from the 80s or a super sharp Omega DeVille chronograph. This tier is just loaded with incredible options, both new and old.
Okay, now we're stepping into the big leagues. We're entering true luxury territory. This is where you're going to find some of the most famous, most iconic watches in the entire world.
Our budget here climbs all the way up to 10,000 euros. And for any collector, hitting this price point is a major, major milestone.
The watches in this bracket are way more than just watches. They are statements. These are the icons from the biggest brands, pieces that are known for their prestige, their history, and, this is crucial, their ability to be a genuine asset that holds its value over time.
And the names really speak for themselves. We're talking about absolute heavy hitters, like the Rolex GMT Master 2nd or the super elegant IWC Portugueser chronograph. And here's a pro tip. You can get into one of the all-time greats, the Rolex Submariner, specifically a certain model number, or what they call a reference, like the 14060M, for right around 8,000 euros. It's one of the best buys in this entire category.
Okay, for our final section, we have to talk about what happens when the manufacturer's price tag becomes, well, almost irrelevant. Welcome to the world of hype.
And there is no better poster child for this than the Patek Philippe Nautilus. To say it's in popular demand is the understatement of the century. The demand has driven prices for this watch to levels that are, well, they're just insane.
Just look at the numbers here. The official retail price from Patek Philippe is around 27,000 Swiss francs. But if you try to buy that same watch on the pre-owned market today, you're looking at over 60,000 euros. That's more than double what the manufacturer says it's worth. It's wild.
And here's the crucial thing to get. This massive price gap has very little to do with the actual watch itself. It's pure supply and demand, totally amplified by hype. The watch became a status symbol online, demand went through the roof, and the waiting list to buy one new is literally years long. So it's transcended being a watch, it's become a traded commodity.
Which leaves us with this one last fascinating question. A watch can be a tool, a piece of art, a status symbol, but after exploring this world of pricing, you have to ask yourself, is a watch just an accessory? Is it a serious investment? Or has it become something else entirely? The answer, as we've seen, really depends on how much you're willing to spend.